Oil prices rose about 2% on Tuesday after the new Saudi Energy Minister Prince Abdulaziz bin Salman confirmed that he would stick with his country's policy of limiting crude output to support prices. Before we go further, let's check on how the movement of crude oil price has gone through the graphic. This is the trend of the oil price movement in September 2019. Actually, trend-wise, it was increasing. By 9 September 2019, the price on $62.59 per barrel. Actually, oil prices have rebounded in the last few weeks after fears of a recession coupled with the surprise access in stockpiles. Therefore, in early August, sent prices down into a bear market. But however, September oil price keeps hiking. At this point, if we can break above the high for the day, then the market is very likely to go towards above $60 level. But what is actually the reason behind this hiking oil prices? We can see through the graphic. This is the list of the reasons why the oil price had been hiked so far. New Saudi Arabia Energy Minister Prince Abdulaziz bin Salman confirmed expectation that he will put policy of limiting oil output to support oil price. And the second one is OPEC's signal on oil output cutback. Yeah, speaking on Monday, Prince Abdulaziz said that the framework of Saudi policy is to make agreement between the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and its allies known as OPEC Plus to curb production by 1.2 million barrels a day. Probably you may wonder how Saudi Arabia can be so powerful, so OPEC mind about the country's policy. It is because Saudi Arabia is one of the important oil producers and exporters in the world. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia representing around 13% of the world's total production. According to the World Fact Book, the petroleum sector accounts for roughly 42% of the country's gross domestic product, while 87% for its budget revenues and 90% for export earnings. Besides Saudi Arabia, what are other top world's oil producing countries? We can see it through the next data. Beside Saudi Arabia, we've got United States with the volume of the oil or production reaching 17.8 million barrel per day. Saudi Arabia is on the second position, and the third position was held by Russia with the production reaching 11.4 million barrel per day. And global oil stocks move up and down as the activities of the three main oil-producing countries, namely United States, Saudi Arabia, and Russia. Saudi tanker stockpiles in January 2019 reached 12.4 million barrels per day, the highest level ever reached. This increase occurred a month after the OPEC agreement, and Russia and some of its allies, countries outside OPEC that is considered to be top world's oil-producing countries are, of course, Russia and the United States. The United States is the top oil-producing country in the world with an average of 14.86 million barrel per day, which accounts for 15.3% of the world's production. Reservoir, just one factor in assessing the potential value of the crucial resource. Digging oil, of course, needs extra effort, extra costs as well. In the next graphic, we will see how much it costs to produce oil from several countries. This is the list of the countries. United States, $17.36 US dollar. Indonesia, $6.87 US dollar. Russia, $2.98 US dollar. United States, $5.85 US dollar, and Saudi Arabia, $3 US dollar. And one of the things to underline, even if a country is blessed with some of the most oil reserves in the world, it may not be able to produce and sell that oil to maximize the potential benefit. Even in a country such as United States, it has higher taxes on oil production, which raises the total cost per barrel. In other places, obstacles are self-imposed. Having billions of barrels of oil within your borders can be a strategic gift from Mother Nature. While some countries are blessed with that, and in another side, there are countries that need much oil to survive. Here we can see the world's largest oil importers. United States seems like, importing oils also. China, India also is the the member of the countries that are importing oils. Meantime, Japan also doing the same thing. South Korea also importing oils. And among continents, Asian countries accounted for the highest dollar worth of imported crude oil during 2018, which purchases costing $628.2 billion US. This equal with 53.2% of the global total. And stable price of oil and global economic, we can see, okay, that was the last graphic for today's presentation. And stay tuned on Market Headlines because we'll be right back after the break.